Hello everyone. Welcome to this session on IAC 300 Audit Planning. In this lecture, we will be discussing how auditors plan an audit of financial statements and why planning is such a critical stage in the audit process. By the end of this video, you should have a clear understanding of what audit planning means, what IAC 300 requires, and how auditors apply it in practice. Let's start with the basics. What do we mean by audit planning? IAC 300 explains the auditor's responsibility when planning an audit. Planning is not just an administrative step, it is a structured process that helps auditor perform the audit efficiently and effectively. Think of it like planning a journey. Before you travel, you decide the route, the time, and the resources that you will need. Similarly, auditors plan the audit before starting detailed testing. Planning matters because it improves audit quality. It helps auditors identify high-risk areas early, such as complex transactions or areas prone to errors, and ensures that audit resources like time, staff, and expertise are used appropriately. Now let's look at why audit planning is so important in practice. Audit planning provides a structured approach. Instead of working randomly, auditors follow a very clear plan, which reduces the risk of missing important areas. Planning also supports timely completion of the audit. Without proper planning, audit can face delays, increased cost, and last-minute issues. From a quality and compliance perspective, planning strengthens professional judgment and promotes consistency across audit engagements. It also helps auditors comply with other auditing standards because many ISAs rely on effective planning as a foundation. In assessment and case-based questions, planning is often tested through scenarios where candidate must identify weaknesses in planning or suggest improvements. The objective of ISA 300 is quite straightforward. The standard aims to ensure that the audit is planned in a way that makes it effective. This means focusing on important areas, understanding risk early, and ensuring the audit team is properly directed. In short, ISA 300 ensures that the audit starts on the right footing. Let's now understand the scope of ISA 300. This standard applies to audits of financial statements and is relevant for both first-time audits and recurring audits. ISA 300 covers three main things. First, establishing the overall audit strategy, the big picture approach. Second, developing a detailed audit plan that translates the strategy into specific procedures. And third, considering the time, direction, and allocation of audit resources. However, it is also important to know what ISA 300 does not cover. It does not provide detailed audit procedures, it does not replace risk assessment standards, and it does not apply to review or other assurance engagements. Here are some key terms used in ISA 300. The audit strategy sets the overall direction of the audit. It answers questions like what areas are most important, where should we focus more effort. The audit plan is more detailed. It outlines the specific procedures the auditor will perform based on the strategy. Planning activities refer to the preliminary work carried out before detailed testing begins, such as understanding the business and identifying their risk. ISA 300 places several responsibilities on the auditor. First, the auditor must establish an overall audit strategy. Second, they must develop an audit plan based on identified risk. And third, the plan must be updated if circumstances change. Planning is not a one-time activity. Professional judgment and skepticism are essential during planning. Auditors must assess risk carefully, remain alert to potential issues, and avoid relying blindly on past experience. Documentation is also very important. Auditors must document their audit strategy and plan and communicate key planning matters with the audit team. This ensures everyone understands their role and responsibilities. Let's look at a practical example to bring this to life. Suppose an audit firm is appointed to audit a manufacturing company. The company has complex inventory valuation and has recently implemented a new IT system. Under ISA 300, the auditor should identify inventory and IT system as high-risk areas. Experienced staff should be allocated to these areas and additional audit procedures should be planned. This example shows how planning is risk-focused, how resources are allocated properly, and how the audit strategy guides the overall approach. There are several common planning mistakes auditors make. These include over-reliance on prior year audit plans, poor understanding of the client's business, and weak communication within the audit team. Poor planning can lead to increased audit risk, inefficient work, weak audit evidence, and even reporting failures. In serious cases, it can damage the auditor's professional reputation. There are a few key areas that learners should focus on. Understanding the key difference between audit strategy and audit plan is crucial. It's also important to remember that planning must be updated throughout the audit. Commonly tested topics include scenario-based questions on planning weaknesses and links between ISA 300 and risk assessment standards. What is generally expected is not just theory, but the ability to apply planning concepts to practical situations. To summarize, ISA 300 focuses on effective audit planning. Good planning improves audit quality, supports efficient audits, and ensures proper use of professional judgment. The audit strategy sets the direction, while the audit plan turns that strategy into action. Here are some final thoughts before closing ISA 300. Applying ISA 300 properly is essential for a successful audit. Strong planning leads to better decision making, better risk management, and higher quality audit outcomes. Thank you for listening, and I hope this session helped you understand audit planning more clearly. Thank you for your time and attention. If you found this session helpful, feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe for more lectures on auditing and accounting topics.